Okay, this video is discussing how those who wish to reduce the population of humans on the earth to either zero growth or reduction down to a couple or 200 million or whatever are ultimately promoting an idea that will lead to impoverishment of the people in general, starvation, regression of technology, and stalling of human advancement. Now, often when we discuss issues of human population growth, we talk about sustainability, etc., whether the planet can actually handle it. What we fail to address in this debate is how larger populations promote technological advancement, more food production, more diversity of technical skills, reduction in cost of goods, and an improved quality of life. And why do we not discuss this? I'm not entirely sure. But if you think about it, when you have a population, one of the things that people who think of zero population growth, one of their problems is they think that the people who come into the world do nothing but eat. And there's only the original population. It's the only population producing food, the only population producing the technology, the only population doing the work. And all these additional people just sort of stand there like statues consuming. The problem with that theory is it's entirely flawed to any observational knowledge. People take up jobs. When you have 100 more people added onto a population, that 100 more people will start producing more goods. We'll start finding work. We'll find work on farms. We'll find work in production and manufacturing. We'll find work in inventing and research and businesses and whatever. People generally want to be working. So, when you have a large population, people are forced to find niches for themselves, little areas where they can fit in and make a difference and make income and so make a living. And in the process of creating niches, the more people, the more niches have been filled, the more diversity in niches are being created, and the end result is you have a wide expanse of knowledge and a wide expanse of ideas and a wide expanse of people exploring their world and discovering and producing and etc. The more people doing that, the more you have of it. And the better and more diversified our knowledge becomes, the more diversified our technology becomes, the more diversified our food sources become, etc. Because as a people as a whole are working to find niches to fill. For the environmentalist, when they say let's reduce the population down to, let's say, the most radical number I've heard was 200 million in the world. For them, what they don't realize is when you reduce that many portions of the population, that means there's fewer people filling fewer niches. So you may have to go back to when you had the local barber not only cut your hair, but he also pulled teeth and did basic medical care. You know, the local farmer, not only did he farm the crops, but he had to also bake the bread, and he also had to make all these goods and then sell it into the marketplace. He was more of a generalist. And the problem with generalists is because they're dealing with general topics, they tend to lack the ability to focus their attention on one problem and find inventive ways to make that one thing better. So when you have a smaller population, like they wish for, they would have less scientific advancement, less food production, because the food producers also have to do more steps because there's less people working, higher cost of goods, because, well, let's face it, you don't have as many goods being produced because less people are producing goods. And the end result is those who are receiving these goods have to pay more, the quality of life diminishes, and you have a regression of society to a more primitive state. Now, before you say, poppycock, let's consider some castaways. 20 people end up on an island out in the middle of nowhere. They came from the most technological spot in the world. Hell, they all came from Silicon Valley. They're all doctorates and PhDs. I guarantee you, no one will be studying nuclear physics on that island. I guarantee you, no one will be studying the stars, or plate tectonics, or biology, or human genes. No one will. What will they do? Well, one of the PhDs will start having to farm. Quite possibly more than one. Most likely about half the population will probably be forced to farm to get the food. And then their farming will include not only clearing the land, growing the food, and making that food into something people can eat, but also include going out and finding food sources and such. And that will be a time-consuming part, which would make these PhDs, everything they learned in their colleges and their programs and whatever, essentially useless. They won't have need of it because their needs are now on a more basal level. The other 10% will be forced to build things and etc. Build housing, build structures they can live in, build weapons to use in hunting, build fires and collect firewood. And guess what? All their PhDs would also be utterly useless. And if that population continued to stay at 20 people, and the first generation of PhDs died off, the later generations will get less educated. Why? Because they don't have the time or the need of these PhDs' knowledge. What they need is how to get the food, how to get shelter, how to get this sort of stuff. So you'll have a regression back to a prior level of technology. And I think in part that's what the environmentalists and extremists want, because they always look at indigenous life, people who are living in tribes in some Amazon jungle as some kind of ideal for the rest of us, when they ignore the fact that by not having all this additional technology, medical care and etc., the lifespan of these people is a lot shorter and they suffer a lot more than they would really be comfortable doing. It's kind of short-sighted. Thank you very much. Have yourself a good day, and God bless.